Good afternoon, friends. In the morning session, we learned about the test and English third unit, The Gentleman of Rio and Medio by John A. Cirillo. In the morning class, we learned about the John A. Cirillo's story, Gentleman of Rio and Medio. So, Rio and Medio is a place where the old man lived. His name was S. His name was Don Anselmo. He was very passionate towards his village, towards his family, towards his land, everything. When our author wanted to make a negotiation with him, it took a lot of time, nearly a month together, because he has no urgent, he has no hurry. He had a lot of time with him. At last, the day of the sale, he came to the office in the style of Senator cartoon, wearing a old coat and a hat and gloves that he removed like a Charlie Chaplin. Then, before they come to the agreement, they speak about something. They made a conversation about the Ryan and family, everything. The old man was very proud about his large family, and we know that he was from the farmer background because the land told he till the same land they had tilled, and he lived in the where his ancestors lived in the same place. So all those things show that he was a farmer. At last, our author said, Don Anselmo. So they sent a surveyor and an engineer to survey his land. But after the survey, they came to know that the land was almost double what that old man thought. That old man thought it was about the 4 hectares. So after the survey, they came to know that it was more than 8 acres. So the buyers are ready to pay extra amount for the same rate per acre. So he offered the double price instead of. See, actually, he wanted to sell the land, his whole land, for $1,200. But the author said, these Americans are Benagenta. Benagenta means very good people. That's why they are ready to give the additional money for the additional land at the same rate per acre. So instead of $1,200, he is going to get almost twice as much, and the money is here for you. They are ready to pay the money and make an agreement with the Don Anselmo. Say, what was the reaction of the Don Anselmo now? So we have said that he wanted to sell his land. His land was full of fruit-bearing trees, in which in the middle of that land a small creek was running, a small house is also there. It is old fashioned style and it is good also. Now see, what was the reaction of the Don Anselmo? Don Anselmo. When the author offered him the double price. The old man hung his head for a moment in thought. Then he stood up and stared at me. Friend, he said, I do not like to have you to speak to me in that manner. I kept still and let him have his say. I know these Americans are good people, and that's why I have agreed to sell to them. But I do not care to be insulted. I have agreed to sell my house and land for $1,200, and that is the price. I argued with him, but it was useless. Finally, he signed the deed and took the money, but refused to take more than the amount agreed upon. Then he shook hands all around, put his ragged clothes, took his stick, and walked out with the boy behind him. Let's discuss. So, what was the reply of the Don Anselmo? When the author offered the double price because his land was double, his reaction was the old man when he heard they are ready to pay extra amount for the extra land. What did he do? He hung his head for a moment. Just he thought, what can I do? Can I receive the extra amount or reject? Just he hung his head for a moment. Then he replied. Then he stood up and stared at me. Stare means look. Stare means look. looked fixedly. The old man got up from his chair and stared at the author, said, Friend, he said, Friend, who is the friend here? Yes, our author, John A. Stedler is the friend here. I do not like to have you to speak to me in that manner. He said, I do not like. He did not like the way, which way? You speak to me in that manner. So what he had spoken? Yes, the author had told the old man that after the survey they found the land was double, so the Americans are ready to pay the double amount for his land. For that, his reaction was he don't like the way he had spoken. He had spoken, or the manner he had done. I kept still. The author did not speak. He kept still. He don't speak anything. Interrupt him. Let him have his say. Let him. What he will say. Let him complete his speech. Then I will answer his questions. So he kept quiet. The author kept quiet. He continues to speak. Who continues to speak? Yes, gentleman of Medio, that is Don Anselmo started. Continue to speak. He said, I know these Americans are good people. You need not to explain. Once again and again you are telling, these are benefit, good people, that's why they are ready to pay. Don't say like this, friend. I know. These Americans are good people. And that's why I have agreed to sell to them. Only because of that only, I am ready to sell my land to them. Why did he want to sell the land to the Americans? Yes, because they were good. He very well knew that they were good people. That's why he was ready to sell. But I do not care to be insulted. Do not care to be insulted. He thought. So why are you? I don't care. You are insult. According to Donaldson, what is the insult? Yes, offering more money. Offering more money than they agreed is the insult. According to him, it is an insult. So would have somebody perhaps would have felt very happy. Yeah, I agreed only for $1,200. They themselves without asking, they are ready to pay the double amount. Anybody would be very happy. But this person was not like that. He was a man of principles. What is that? It shows that he was a man of a principle. That's why he thought offering the double price itself is insulting. What was insulting? Offering the double price is insulting. I have agreed to sell my house and land for $1,200. He said, I already agreed you. Before the survey, I have agreed to sell my land and the house within for $1,200, and that's the price. What is the price? $1,200. $1,200. They made an agreement before that. They make an agreement between the old man and the author. So by in that agreement, he told he was ready to sell his land along with the house only for $200, and that is the price. If you offer more, as you told, the land was exceeds double. If they are ready to pay double amount, he thought it was insulting. Offering the double amount is insulting. What this shows? What quality do you find in this old man? Yes, this old man was a man of principle. He was committed to his words. He stuck to his words. He never spoke in the double way. What he has accepted, he was ready to sell the land for the same price, whatever it may be. I argued with him, but it was useless. After his saying, the speaker, who is the speaker or author, said, hello, argued with him. No. So you are right, sir. Then you knew that your land was only 4 acres. That's why you are ready to sell the land for $1,200. Now, we have made a survey. In the survey, we have found your land is double, not little bit excess. It is almost double, more than double. So why do you lose? Why do you make a loss? Please take the extra amount, the same rate per acres. He argued with him. So he wanted to convince him to accept the extra amount for the extra land. but it was useless. But it was useless. Why was this argument useless? Because Don Anselmo agreed to sell the land for $1,200. Even after he knew that his land was double, he was ready to sell the land for the same price. He did not alter his decision. That's why it was useless. It was useless. Finally, he signed the deed. Finally, he signed the deed. Deed means agreement, sale agreement, sale agreement. Signed the deed and took the money. And took the money. How much money has took? Yes, only $1,200. But refused. He refused it, rejected it to take more than the amount agreed upon. He took only the amount what was agreed. What was the amount that was agreed before? Yes, it was $1,200. But he rejected to take the extra amount. Then he shook his hands. Then he shook his hands all around. Those who are sitting in the author's office shook their hands all around, put his ragged clothes once again, and took his stick, the skeleton umbrella, and walked out with the boy behind him. The boy, one of the came behind him. With that boy, he left the office. What can you say? What can you say that person? Do you think he was a man? No, he was not a man. We think he's a great. He's a great. He stuck to his words. He was a man of principles. He was not a bribe. So he took the money and went out of the office. Next paragraph. A month later, my friend had moved into Rio in Medio. They had replastered the old house, pruned the trees, patched the fences, and moved in summer. One day they came back to the office to complain. The children of the village were overrunning their property. They came every day and played under the trees, built little play fences around them, and took blossoms. When they were spoken to, they only laughed and talked back good naturedly in Spanish. Okay, now in the previous paragraph we learned that the gentleman Anselmo took only $200 as he agreed before and went away. The owners, Americans, make an agreement, sign the deed, and took the land for his money that he has agreed upon. A month later, after buying, my friends means author's friends, Americans, had moved into the Rio in Medio. They moved into the Rio in Medio. They moved into that new place. For them, it's a new place. They replastered the old house. Before they go into what they done, replaster. Plastering means they will do some. This is plastering. So for the rough wall, we will make a cement plastering or mud plastering. The same way, here also the old house was very old, so they once again replastered the house. Pruned the trees, to cut the trees. To cut off some branches of the trees. There are so many innumerable fruit bearing trees were there. They cut off their branches to grow more. And patched the fence. There was a fence was there around the land. They patched it. They patched the fence and moved in the summer days. They moved into their new house. Which was the new house? The old man's old house was the new house for the Americans. The children of the village, one day, they came back to the office to complain. After they living in the Don Anselmo's house and his orchard, after some days, one day they came back to the office. Which office? Yes, John A.A. River's office. Why did they came? To complain. What was the complaint? The children of the village were overrunning their property. What was the complaint? That there are so many children are there in the village. They were overrunning their property. came every day, not one or 2 days. Every day they came there. All the children of the village came every day and played under the trees. They are always playing under the trees. There are so many trees. They are playing under the trees. They built little play fences around them. They also built some little play fences. They are playing. So protect themselves for their play. They have some little playing fences around them and took blossoms. There are some blossoms. They took off the blossoms when they were spoken to. So if the owners of the house asked, why are you disturbing? Why are you playing here? Why are you pluck the flowers or blossoms? What was their answer? They only laughed. Children only laughed and talked back good nurturely in Spanish. What was the reply to the Americans? They only laughed at them and talked back in Spanish language in good nurturely. In a very good manner. In a good manner they are giving responses. So this was the problem for the Americans in the New House. They have no peace. Actually they bought this land and a small house because they wanted to live peacefully. But what happened here? Even after they buying the land and getting into the new house, there was no peace because of the children. Children are owning the property, playing, making sounds, they are laughing. That's why there was no peace for them. There was a disturbance. So they came to the office and complained. I sent a messenger up to the mountains for Don and Selma. So the author sent the messenger to Rio and Medio to call Don and Selma for a meeting. It took a week to arrange another meeting. So we already know that he was a man of peace. He was no hurry. So it took one week to make another meeting between the Americans and the Don Anselmo. When he arrived, he repeated his previous preliminary performances. When he arrived, he also arrived. Don Anselmo arrived and repeated. What he repeated? His previous preliminary performance. What are his previous preliminary performances? So what are his previous preliminary activities? He wore the coat that was green, dusty, wearing a hat, gloves, the gloves are torn, the fingertips can shown through them, and he's having a cane. The cane is a stunt or umbrella, and behind him there was a boy. When he entered the office, he bowed all of them, removed his hat and the gloves, hand over to the boy. These are the preliminary previous performance. He did the same when he came for the second time to the office. He wore the same faded cutaway. He wore the same faded cutaway, carried the same stick, accompanied by the boy. Said he was accompanied because he came with a boy again. He shook hands all around. When he entered the room, he shook hands all around. Sat down, and the boy behind his chair and talked about the weather. First they speak about the weather. How was the weather? How is the rain? They talk about. Finally, I broached the subject. Broach means rise. Broach means rise the subject. What was the subject? The subject was the Americans' complaint against the children of the Rio and Medio. So initially they did not come to complain. Initially they wanted to feel comfort for their meeting. That's why they spoke about some other subjects like family or rain, weather, etc. At last the author said, broach the subject. What was the subject? The subject was about the complaint of Americans against the children. Don also know about the ranch you sold to these people. About the ranch. A large farm, some large farm to these people. These Americans. They are good people and wanted to be your good neighbors always. Don answer no. So they have sold the ranch, they have sold your land, big farm to these Americans. They are good people, as you already know, and want to be your good neighbors always. Not only good people, they always wanted to be your good neighbors. Good neighbors. When you sold to them, you signed a document. When you sold the land, you signed, you put your signature in the document. When you made an agreement, document. A deed. A document was a deed. In that deed, you have agreed several things. So while you putting a signature, there are several conditions are there. You have agreed to all of them. Agreed to several things. One thing was that they were have a complete possession of the property. Once you sign the deed, they have a complete possession of the property. Their property, they will become the real owners. You will lose your ownership. They were the real and complete owners of the land. Now, the answer no. It seems that every day children of the village overrun the orchard. What problem is that every day children of your village overrun the orchard and spend most of the time there. Not only overrunning there, they spend most of their time there only. We would like to know. We would like to know if you, as the most respected man in the village, could not stop them from doing so in order to that these people might enjoy their new home more in peace. Said in nice words. See, all sold the land, they become the real owners, the real possessors of the property. The property have already agreed for several things. Though your children of your village were owning the property and playing most of the time there only. So we would like to know you. So we want to inform you that if, as the most respected man, you are the most respected man in the village. Everybody, everyone in the village will respect you and your words. That's why, could you not stop them? Could you not stop them? Who was them? Them is children. From doing so. Doing so. What is doing so is playing and making sounds in the orchard. So in order to, these people might enjoy their new home more in peace. If you do so, if you stop those children from playing, definitely these people will enjoy their new property in peace. For that purpose only they have bought the land. After reading this, Don Anselmo stood up. We have all learned to love these Americans, he said, because they are good people and good neighbors. I sold them my property because I knew they are good people, but I did not sell them the trees in the orchard. What was the reaction of the Don Anselmo? Don Anselmo, as he gave the suggestion, he stood up and said, we have all learned. We are not uneducated fellows. We are all learned. We know to love these Americans. We know that we have to love these Americans. Love Americans are our neighbors. They are our friends. They are our neighbors. We very well knew. We know that. Said because why? Because they are good people and good neighbors. Why should we love Americans? Because they are good people and good neighbors. That's why we knew that we should love them. I sold them my property. Because of that reason, I sold them my property. Because I knew they were good people. I sold my property for a purpose. They are very good people. But I sold the land. But I did not sell them the trees in the orchard. I sold the property. I agree with you, but I don't sold the trees in the orchard. I don't sold the trees in the orchard. See, what was the reaction? Do you feel his reaction is right or wrong? Yes. Everybody would say is wrong, because once we sold the land, everything in the land will become to the next owner. But he did not agree. He agreed that he sold the land, but he also telling that he sold only the land but not in the trees. They never expected this kind of answer from the Don Anselmo. Shall we see what happened in the next class? Thank you for the today's class.